Всем привет! Давай.
Hi everyone, let's start. My name is Tatyana Krutikova. I'm a quality assurance lead. I'm also responsible for development of testers team in the company FTRU. I'm working as automation testing in a company called B2B Broker. Today we would like to share our experience how we develop a common metric system and bring specific examples how to connect data from various systems with the help of outsourced instrumentation and tools. Our team is 35 people. We develop two systems of electronic exchange, having releases every 2 weeks. All our processes are automated. We put the releases through automation tests before delivery to the customer and upon commit. Both our projects started in parallel and the time schedule was very ambitious. So we realized that our problem was the speed of delivering features to end customers. Initially, we solved this problem just by reducing the time allocated for tests. This approach brought outcomes quite fast. We accumulated a lot of defects, and development team started to spend a lot of time on correcting defects instead of new features development. We also became aware that our team lacks feedback. It was difficult for us to analyze the root cause analysis. Uh, it was difficult to localize development problems, and one of the most sensitive issues for the testers was lack of understanding of testers team, which affected team's efficiency. So we decided to analyze all the problems that we encountered in our problem. We made a problem list and began to fill in this list with the reasons. This list was used as the data sheet for all the problems, and we collected all the statistics in Excel sheets. Later, the problems were uploaded in Jira. We made a split based on the requirements and stages of the production cycle. Then we faced another problem. This picture was not enough informative because some of the problems were missed at the analysis stage, and this problem has turned out to be the most critical because the errors were of such a nature that the developers team had to make architectural changes instead of just the functional ones. Time which testers had to spend to test the changes increased 2 or 3 times. So it became clear for us that in order to have a clear, full-fledged picture, we need to analyze many more aspects. We decided that we want to analyze quality of the product that we are developing. We would like to measure the efficiency of our team, our general team, and our testers team. We use such systems as Jira for bug tracking. We keep the statistics of defects. We use test tray tool to organize documentations and test run statistics, and the system Allure, where we collect all the data on the automated test runs. Allure gives us a very detailed picture of the latest test run. However, we don't have a tool how to collect the statistical data over certain periods of time. Jira provides us with the range of visual tools such as diagrams and graphs, but it was fit for our purpose because it is not possible to compare data from different systems. Test trail only provides us with the information about the statistics of the test run status, which was also not enough for our purpose. After we analyzed the tools that we're using and based on the solution that we would like to have, we made analysis what do we need. So we want to have the possibility to upload the data. We want to have built-in visualization in tools. We would like to be able to compare data from various systems. The system should be easy. And since it was only start of our quality assurance process, we wanted to have a possibility for metrics extension. After we develop terms of reference and develop requirements, we came up with such a table. So it became clear that none of the systems provides a solution for data comparison. So we decided to make the data upload from all the system automatic. Also, we decided to visualize the metrics. So the problems were solved by certain steps. We implemented storage of all data in one and the same place. The data received is now stored in one location. We have one entry point for the data to be further processed and analyzed. And based on this, we build visualization. We upload them on dashboards, show to the teams, then we all meet up together and discuss at which stage we are at the moment, and we can see the general picture of the whole processes. It turned out that a combination of Elastic, Kibana and Elasticsearch meets our requirements. Many companies use this tool for quite a long time to check how the load on application is spread. They analyze logs of their apps. We managed to adapt a combination of these three tools to monitor testing process and the whole development process, and we are happy to share our experience how we did it. I can tell you why Elastic Stack product. This is because Elasticsearch makes it possible to combine and work with the big data, which was very important for our case. We have a lot of auto tests, and after all test runs, they leave quite a number of artifacts that have to be processed and analyzed. This was a very useful tool for us. In addition, Elasticsearch is closely integrated to Kibana because they are manufactured by one and the same company. This is basically a graphic user interface of Elasticsearch, and Kibana has a built-in set of visualizations. Also, these products have free versions. There are no significant limitations on their applications. So some of the versions are supported by public community. But we always start first from investigating the specifics of the tool selected. The way to apply Elasticsearch is quite easy to do. First, you create an index for the data search and data storage, then you add mapping, and the data could be loaded. And after that, you could draw whatever graphs you would like. Let us show how this could be done from scratch, how it could be done fast and easily. Communication with Elasticsearch is done with the support of Consolidated. It's possible to add mapping and aggregate data only by sending requests to Elasticsearch. If you want to create an index, simply enter the put request to Elasticsearch, and that will be the name of your index. In this particular case, Kibana, being a front-end Elasticsearch, proposes a developers panel. There's no need to make any reference to the address of your server. You simply write down the way to index and get the response at once. But if a lot of miscellaneous data is being analyzed, there is a problem how to define a field type. One of the bright examples is the data field. It's not clear what it is. Is it just a number? Is it a text? Is it a time of the year? If it's time of the year, if it's a particular date, then which of these figures stand for date, for month, and for year? Elasticsearch is able to attach indices to most of the types of data, but there is still a need to indicate the type of data for the field manually. Sometimes it is even needed to add additional features such as formatting or something that will ensure that Elasticsearch tool works with your data the way you want it to. After the index is created, mapping could be added from developers panel. So it's also possible to compare their input and data and just add a formatted description of all fields with their descriptions and with all additional types that you would like to see. After this, the data could be sent via request. The easiest one is to send a request in the post body. So then they come to the Elasticsearch. They are assigned an index, and the search could be done based on this request, and they later could be used. However, it's even better if you additionally configure Kibana, because Kibana will understand in what format the data should be provided. It is responsible for visualization. It's just enough to give a name of an index for Elasticsearch, follow a couple of simple steps, and this tool will show all your fields with all field types and additional parameters. After this, you could review your data. You can see your data in Kibana. It looks like this. Different fields are available. You can convert this data into table format. In the folder available fields, you can indicate or you can name certain additional fields that you would like to be reflected next time once you open the data. Or if needed, you could make the setting in such a way that you only open up the fields that you would like to see without being distracted by anything else. The data is loaded in the Elasticsearch through the body of a request. That's why integration with other system means that all the data is brought into compliance to a standard view. A life hack is that all information to do the auto test run is stored in tailor-made test case files. If you use Allure in your work, you could easily load the results to Elasticsearch after a test run, and then you will have a good access to all the data, and you can analyze the statistics by month, by week, etc., and have access to all the data that you are going to process. One of the practical way of integration with other system is application of API. Developers team or our automation team are happy to help you. It is only needed to develop a certain simple functionality, then export the data, brush the data up, then send it to Elasticsearch for a request, and after that create dashboards and visualize the data. Then the information will be presented nicely with the support of nice visualization tools. Kibana provides a wide range of built-in visualizations, more than 15 I should say. They can help you to build colorful standard cards, templates, circle diagrams, all kinds of diagrams, whatever is more comfortable for you. I can show you some examples how this could be done fast and how key metrics could be visualized fast. Basic visualization is the metric to show the data that fits onto your requirements as a value. Kibana constructor looks quite standard. On top you will have a field for filtration. Normally this is a search field, so that you could filter the data based on your requests. Then field supports you to do all kinds of calculations, do all the sums or find the average value. I think almost all the visualizations in Kibana work in the same way. You could also make this kind of pie charts to visualize distribution of statuses based on defects written in Jira, or in the same way you could visualize the test results. Additional options have a tool to calculate the unique values for a particular field where you would like the data to be aggregated. If your data has the data field, you could also reflect the information in the format of this kind of graphs. They show increase or decrease of certain values. They show the load rise or load decline. Ikebana provides for various possibilities, as well as option to customize a graph based on what you wish most. So you see that the metrics could be done in a very colorful manner. I think you are all familiar with tech clouds. It really helped us when we were working with the refactoring or when we did something during fine-tuning the auto tests. It was very convenient to have a reflection of all most frequently occurred errors. We used these visualizations. Later we published them in dashboards, and we could see information about auto test runs in the real-time mode. Dashboards also reflect information how the test cases from Xtrail are being run and compare this data against Jira information about defects. Thus, we could have detailed and clear feedback for our team members, so they do not have any problems anymore because the testers see on the dashboards the data about how many defects are generated. They can check the correction status. They can check and see auto test quality, as well as all other values and indicators, and they know what their colleagues are doing. They could assess how much workload the colleagues have and can support if needed. Managers also see the similar information, and based on the information available, they can judge and make judgments about team's speed, team's development, work progress. They see the lifetime of defects. They see how defects are distributed among product functionality and many other interesting things.
Dashboard in a team is always a topic for discussion. You can always open it up, look at the current status of things, see how products are working, see how people are performing, and make important conclusions. And the key advantage to this solution is that you can quickly deploy and just as quickly adapt to new types of data because the system is expandable. We can pull out data that we want, and elastic search capabilities will certainly come into play. By relying on Ikebana, we can always customize dashboard, and it took us 2 weeks to deploy this whole thing, make adaptations to TestRail and to Jira, and about 5 more days for the passionate team to form dashboards. And I think everyone uh, contributed something to the dashboard, and it was a great team effort. Speaking about the outcomes of this solution, it was important to appreciate what testers are doing and how effective they can be. Also, the average lifetime of defect reduced by half. Also, we identified functional issues and we targeted those in our interventions. The effectiveness of tests and tests has also established itself pretty prominently. We often had questions, do we really need auto tests? Perhaps we could do without. And now we have useful and relevant stats answering those questions and concerns online. Now we can quickly identify causes of problems in the process of development, and one can ask meaningful questions to testers, not based on assumptions or concerns, but guided by specific metrics. Apart from obvious benefits, we looked into some side effects. Testers are now more competitive with one another. The understanding with managers have become much better. Our dialogues are more meaningful, and communications with all roles and functions, including analysts and developers, have significantly improved owing to bit feedback that is generated with regard to specific metrics. They are shared by the team and they are understood by everybody. And apart from implementing these metrics, we don't want to stop there. And we have some outlooks for the future. We want to measure stability coefficient of metrics. We want to track real time of test teams' work and user satisfaction. We want to know to what extent it is convenient for users to use a specific product, how well it covers their needs. We believe that each team that is starting to think and plan measuring and managing the assurance process can fine-tune the metric systems as easily as we did. It would be great if the experience that we shared with you would be useful for you. We see questions in your eyes. Go ahead. Thank you for the call report. What data do you push into Elastic and for which events? And which software grabs data and which pushes data? And now that uh, you measure performance of QA with dashboard, how exactly do you do it? It's true. It looks like a certain service that requests for data changes in Jira and it pushes Elastic. I mean, it is as simple as it sounds. We grab data. For example, we grab everything that users see on their screen in Jira. Operation time, a lifetime of defects, status, some extra fields, and from test trail we try to grab info about sprints in the context of steps and test spans. So this is not rocket science to collect data in a way that is convenient for you without taking away extra fields. Perhaps it's on a case-by-case basis, but since we are only beginning, we grab everything. Concerning the second question, concerning test team performance, for the longest, we faced a situation where developers had no idea about what testers did. It looks like they wanted to play a joke on developers being mischievous by planting bugs. But in fact, all information collected about bugs becomes obvious to the team. And they know what we collect, they see the results of our work in a visual way. And in fact, with dashboard, we can talk it out. And now these are team shareable results. Did I answer your questions? Give or take. So you split work logs into what? What's your KPI? Concerning KPI, we did not integrate any particular KPIs. But speaking about performance of autotests and their experience, we fixed that easily. We compared defects found manually and found in an auto mode. And managers say that auto tests need to be supported and they take a lot of time. But when we actually see how quickly we are able to find bugs, it's a completely different dimension. It drives our point right home. It's not a correlation graph. We did show correlation, but Ikebana allows not only collecting data in a visually presentable way, we can see some statistics and see what data was the base data for the other data, and we could see based on certain component how many defects were found in an automatic mode. But you could have seen that in Jira, right? Our key is that we have everything in one place. When the manager comes in, we've loaded everything in one place, and since we can load any data, we can devise new metrics and generate or plot a much more complicated graph. So you manage to sum up data but don't know how use it completely. The matrices that we have are pretty simple. It's good for starters, but as a prospect, we're planning to expand the metrics, but all the pressure points, all the painful points have been covered. Hi, my name is Stepan, Kaspersky Lab. It's not a question, but rather a comment. I think you misunderstand that you found some performance indicators of QA and performance indicators of test suites. What I heard was mostly visualization and more straightforward understanding of teamwork. In fact, I haven't, or you don't have any KPIs, and I think you're are largely to encounter many problems. We intentionally did not introduce KPIs. For example, I asked a bunch of questions to different presenters at different conferences because I wanted to put together a KPI. If you meet it, you did well. But in fact, we are dealing with artifacts, and we want to distribute feedback for the rest of the team. But this is not QA team's KPI. I mean, don't don't you uh, make mistake here, because your managers will sit on you. But we did make a deal with the managers, and they nobody invented KPI for testing, so you have nothing to say about that. At least I don't know anybody who would come up with real KPI for testers. The best answer I managed to collect was from a person who is 80 years old. He was doing testing for 50 years. He said the best answer is a happy user. Kaspersky Lab knows what it wants to achieve from test team. A user hasn't found critical problems after release. This is the only parameter that can assess your performance. To measure satisfaction of users, you need to engage the whole team, not just testers. So this is a way forward. This is looking forward. Hi, Alpha Bank. Thank you for a good presentation. You're doing a great thing, unlike previous ones. We are actually doing the same, but the scale of problem is much bigger. We have about 200 in development, so we are searching for KPIs. We have spelled out methodology. We're launching pilots. We are collecting indicators. We are building integration parameter. But we're not talking about team performance or test team performance. We're talking about team performance in general. First, what managers use that, IT or business managers? Project managers inside the team. Who are they? Business or IT lead? Who looks at this? It's IT lead. One manager used to be a tester himself. The other had little to do with testing, so he had no knowledge about testing. Dashboards look nice, but you know what they miss? Time to fix a defect. 18 days. Do you think it's enough? What were the previous time limits? Where are we trying to reach? I mean, to track the dynamic. And I know that the time to fix different bugs, critical or non-critical, will differ. So do you have any fixed boundaries? Here we wanted to show how long it might take. 17 days is too much for us. It's unacceptable. Then we proceeded to negotiate acceptable time limits for fixing a bug. And one other thing, do you have a top-level dashboard that will show these commands and who is in charge of the managers? I mean, who makes sure that those managers process data properly? We didn't make a global dashboard, but in managers we have someone who is responsible for all the projects, and uh, it's not like one manager looks at things because each statistic is subject to different interpretation. It's all about teamwork. It's just that such dialogues are more meaningful. It's not like I feel or I think, it's meaningful. It's a pro dialogue. Once again, thank you. I have a purely technical question. In your test system, you have about 1.5 terabytes worth of logs in a month and a half. Did you look into clearing the storage and perhaps doing a random clearance? In fact, we haven't run into this issue yet when we needed to get rid of some space. In fact, we have about 1,000 or 1,500 tests. They leave a trail of some artifacts, but we still have enough storage. We can even scale it up. We haven't looked that way yet, but I think one day it will happen. I think it will be interesting to look into it. Thank you for this perspective question. Alexander Luxsoft Company. I have two questions. Question one, metrics exist to answer question not only what but also why. Let's say defect 671 has been found with two test cases, 3072 and 18. This defect breaches rule 514. How can you extract this information since you're dealing with heterogeneous data based on your metric? We can collect information about, we cannot collect requirements information. This is something for the future. The reason I asked my question is because in Jira there is one tool that collects test cases, requirements, and it does it in a heartbeat. Thank you for your question. In Jira, requirements are not tracked. We tried Zephyr, but Zephyr doesn't do the job, so we have to take it from different systems. Then I have the following question. If we want to use metrics for analysis, for review, what benefit do they give? Or should we go straight to the primary level, dig into test levels, and so on? It depends on your ultimate goal. We faced specific problems that we needed to address. And by having sufficient data, we know how to address the problems in the right time. In fact, this tool holds a lot of promise. But we need a different level of maturity to make the best of it. We need to look at correlation at the graph and make an unequivocal solution and finding. I am talking in general. If I understand your question correctly, without going straight to the primary level, we want to receive ready to use analytics. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Unfortunately, time's up. We'll talk to you in private.